Hi guys, welcome back to the shop. This week I am really pretty excited. Today we bring the Scythian bow home, wrap it all out, and get through a few tribulations, but I'm real excited to share this bow with you this week. So hang in there, see how we went from a rough, full drawn bow to a finished and refined, well shooting Scythian recurved bow. In order to start shooting in this bow, we have got to get something of a grip put into place so that we can safely pass an arrow through this through the handle section of this bow without tearing up the fletching and etc. And so I have set everything up here on a center line, measured up 2 inches each direction for a 4-inch grip, and then another 2 inches for the fades in coincidence with the riser here. And really what I'm going to do is take and grind out these sections on my sander here. Nothing too ornate or too ergonomic just yet. We want to start shooting, not finishing. All right, so we've done a little bit of work in terms of getting a grip put together here. So just kind of roughed out something of an arrow pass on this handle section, so we can try and get this guy shot in. I think it's important to note that right here on the first fade is just over 6.5 inches. On the other one, the same. Sorry, I don't think I'm in the screen there. So we do not have any positive tiller associated with this bow. We're pulling evenly on both limbs. As we shoot it in, that may change, but I think this is actually a really good place to start. Have not gone about determining which limb is going to be top versus bottom. I think what I'm going to do is shoot it and see which way it feels the best, and then utilize it in that manner. Made a new string. If you can see, got a new string made for it. We'll just put some tape knock points on here before we serve it, so we can figure out which end is what. And definitely got some work to do on the tips. So these are just big clunky tips right now, and this is not going to work in the finished bow. All right guys, these are very first shots. I'm going to be shooting like 700 grain arrows, very heavy arrows, so that we can get this bow to break in. Got a little bit of string, or a little bit of hand shock to it, and that's those thick tips talking to me. Yeah, a lot of string vibration going on there. And go retrieve these arrows and take a couple more shots. And I've already had to shorten the string. Just even in those 3 shots, the string stretched quite a bit. Okay, still feeling an awful lot of hand shock. So we've got to take a lot of mass off of these tips. We're going to go with what science tells us, that we can really thin this out. Since it's a deep cross section, we can go very narrow. So we'll be narrowing these out. All right, guys, at this point I've put probably about 75 arrows through this bow. Switching top limb for bottom limb, shooting off of either side of the shelf, etc. One thing I have learned is that this bow really does require a pretty high brace height. So I'm at a 7 1/4 inch brace height right now, and that's like minimum for it to operate well. I got about an 8-inch gap on this side, 8-inch again on this side. Again, no positive tiller beginning to develop here, so both of these limbs seem to be of equal strength, let's say, or under similar strain anyway. I have managed to take down these tips a little bit, so they're a little bit smaller, you know, and straightened out and whatnot. But I'm going to take a lot of mass off. I'm going to go ahead and like trim these down and put an overlay on these tips. Probably, well, what I'm going to do is put in a string groove here on each recurve, so that the string will set in that groove. And what that groove will do for me is really kind of index where the point to which I can remove the wood. And we'll do some pretty substantial removal up in here, just to try and drop some of that mass. It does shoot very quietly, very quiet, which I'm kind of surprised on one hand. I'm shooting very heavy arrows, however, so that might be part of it. The other thing is that the hand shock is still very prevalent. So, and the grip itself is still very angular, so it's very perceptible when it's shaking in the hand. It literally hurts. So, probably smooth out the grip a little bit. I may add in like some cork or something on the front here, just to kind of fill out the roundiness of that grip. And again, we'll put in the string grooves and continue to refine the tips of this bow. Alright guys, back at it bright and early this morning. Glued on a couple pieces and let them dry overnight. So got some tip overlays put on the tips here so that I can support a string groove over the top of the back here, and then allow me to really try and thin these things out as best I can to minimize some of the hand shock I'm experiencing. The other thing that I've done here is glued on a couple strips of thick leather. Grip was just a little too slight in the hand, and I think that obviously did not help me when it came to bow shivering at all. This is going to fill out the grip a little bit more, fill out like my actual grip a little bit more, and then we'll put a leather grip on there as well. I think that's what I'm leaning toward this time around. Anyway, that is where I'm at. So I'm going to spend some time just working down and fashioning these limb tips and the grip. So ordinarily, guys, when forming out like a leather grip like this or leather overlay, I usually soak it with super glue. And one of two things has either happened. It's like gelling up inside the bottle here, so I don't know if it got too cold overnight or what's going on. But I'm going to try an alternative here and just go with some tight bond. Because really all I'm looking for is something that's going to impregnate that leather and dry up and make it, you know, workable or machinable, I guess would be the way to describe that. So I'm just making this a pretty runny, just a watered down glue slurry, and that should soak into the leather really well and give me the opportunity to then machine it. So new attempt at an old process here. This might actually be a better way to go. So I think the tight bond will dry up. Well, the glue experiment seemed to work to some degree. I've put a final coat on there just to kind of get it toughened up. It does not create a shell, not like super glue does, but it did impregnate the product or the leather enough that I could kind of work it to some degree. I had to put about 3 applications on there to get to this point. So it seemed to work out all right. Did some a little more refining of the grip area here. So elongated the fades some. So got them up into here where they were starting down in here before. And I think that's about as far as that's going to go. I just wanted to really clear the way for a good arrow pass there. And then here's where I'm at with the tip overlays. Got some sun pouring into the garage. I'm sorry about the shadow, you guys. This is just tough on me. This is just really thick and clunky what's going on out here. I'm just not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it. But I'm going to take down the edges similar to what I have done on the remainder of the bow where I was thinning the limbs. So only on the wedge portion here, I'm going to just start literally narrowing these tips some. The tip overlays, I think I'm really going to work down to something small. I might even just do like a pin knock kind of setup up here to lose this extra weight. Having to get pretty creative with regard to how I'm going to lose some of that mass. But I'm going to do that right quick, see if I can't get it strung up again, just to make sure that I'm not having any alignment issues, and then shoot it a little bit more. All right, guys, I have taken these tips down. They're getting pretty narrow, all things considered. Definitely deeper than they are wide. There's the grip, and again on this side, definitely deeper than they are wide. Not quite pinky width, but pretty darn thin. Much thinner than I anticipated being. I'm still experiencing a little bit of vibration on the shot. There's just no mass at the grip, so it just reverberates through the whole length of this bow when you shoot. It's not horrible by any means, actually. It's actually not bad at all, but enough such that I want to continue working on this. So what I think I'm going to do is what is called trapping. I think I'm going to do a little bit of a trapping effect on this back. And what that means is I'm going to take down the edges of this cross section, well, the edges of the limb here, and where the cross section will actually look trapezoidal shaped. so it'll be narrower on the back side and stay wide on the belly. So I think I'm gonna do some of that. I think I'm also going to take these knocks down almost to like pin knock type of deals. You know, I put overlays on here, and of course I'm worried about mass at the tips, and I go ahead and put Pt.5 on there, which is like the heaviest, densest wood I could have chosen. Might say that was not a smart decision. However, I really wanted the strength since I'm not dealing with horn or bone. Yeah, so you can hear it's very quiet. One of the little side benefits, even though it's got string contact on these recurves, the amount of hand shock has been reduced to a very reasonable level, so I don't think I'm going to do anything more in terms of trapping on these guys. We'll probably lose just the little bit of mass on the margin working on the extreme tips, but that's pretty much where I'm going to end here with as far as the peaking and tweaking. At this point, it's just a matter of sanding it out and putting the finish on it. All right, here she is all finished up, you guys. As the marking would indicate, 35 pounds at 28 inches. Put on a leather grip, leather strike plate on the thumb side, because I am shooting this with a thumb draw. And I will demonstrate its shooting here once we get past this. Did do a little bit of work on the tips. I don't know if the lighting is going to permit the discernment, but it is trapped. The limbs are trapped there. I put in some string grooves right here on the belly side. There, I can get my pinky in against that. Hard to see those grooves since I'm showing it to you strung. I'll unstring it right quick and show you the limb tips, but as it turns out, very well lined up and in order, and shoots beautifully. This bow in its entirety weighs literally like 0.06 over 15 ounces. So it's a 15-ounce bow. All right, less than a pint of beer is the physical weight of this bow. Shoots beautifully. There's a little bit of hand shock on a 10 grains per pound arrow, but nothing offensive. It shoots very smoothly. All right, I'm doing my best to balance this bow on its limb tip there, but there is the resulting tip. So did some string grooves right through here just to help that string track better. The finished profile of this bow looks a lot like this.